Well, let's talk a little bit about this mess. Everybody Should Be Sexist was the title of the second video here on this very channel, and I have to say it was a horrible mess. And this is pretty much the reason for this video, going back to this one and addressing a few aspects that really need to be corrected. I'm not going to delete the original video because keeping the history of the channel intact, letting people see where I come from and stuff. So 3 aspects I want to talk about are, first of all, this opening with a dictionary and the terminology. The second is my poor representation of the gender, sex and orientation issue. And number 3, explain what I actually intended to say with my original video. Now for this dictionary thingy in the opening. I intended it to be an attention-grabbing opening with a certain twist so that people get hooked and continue watching, with opening with this bold statement, everybody should be sexist, and then explaining where I actually come from. And I still think that it is basically a smart idea and could have worked if I wouldn't be a complete dumbass. Because instead of making it a short intro, to the point, getting people hooked, I talked about it for 2.5 minutes and totally distracted from where I actually wanted to go with this whole video. And as a result, people were under the impression that the purpose of this video was to redefine certain words with the original meaning. And it didn't really help that I continued using those redefined, return to origin terms for discrimination and sexism. And when people started in the comment section to point out to me that language is not a static thing, that it changes, that it evolves, I was like, duh, I know this. But then I reconsidered why people were telling me this. And the answer is because I completely screwed up the whole wannabe smart idea in the opening, and yeah. As a result, I looked like a dumbass. Good work, ANY, good work. Now, issue number 2. I kind of did a really horrible representation of how to interpret gender, sex and orientation and everything. And it doesn't really help that gender and sex both translate to the same word in German. Geschlecht. I was screwed up there horribly, and I totally recommend everybody checking out this video by one of the vlogbrothers, which is explaining the complexity of the humans and how their sexuality, their orientation and their genders actually work. And I could only repeat what he already said, and only in an inferior way, so check out this video. And now for the actual intention I had for the video, everybody should be a sexist. The basic message I was going for was supposed to be equal treatment instead of equality as the goal everybody should going for. Equality simply does not work because we are not equal. Every human is his own version, and as I try to explain in a very messed up and uninformed way in the original video, gender, sex, orientation, it is a very complex issue and it is not a binary issue. Therefore, equal treatment becomes even more important because equality is absolutely not possible. Now, what about my claim that when you have a workforce which consists mostly of males, and when you have 2 applicants, a male and a female, both equally qualified, that you should go with the female? I still stand by this statement. Even so, I got comments on Tumblr and in the comment section that were like, just going by the biological sex is not really the appropriate way to go, since other aspects play a far higher role in your qualification and what you can add to a diverse workforce. But I still stand to my claim that you should go for an as diverse workforce as possible, and therefore try to hire as many females as males. Even so, this radically oversimplifies the whole issue because, well, what is male, what is female again? The whole question Jaclyn raised in her video. The problem is people are dumb or at least lazy. So even if they do understand and realize that this whole sex and gender issue is not a binary subject, there is still the risk that, for example, an employer will say, whoop, I don't want to go too much into detail. I have a certain idea of what a male usually brings to the table and what brings a female usually to the table. And basing your decision to employ somebody on this exclusively biological sex issue is better than it is currently. Therefore, I modify my original statement in the way that this is just one step, one small step into the right direction of actual equal treatment. But for most people in their heads, there is still this man-woman system. And you will not be able to make them understand the complexity of the issue. So you have to give them an easier to handle model. In this case, the binary model of only male and female. And even so, this is far, far from actually being a solution. At least it will us as a society bring a bit closer to an actual situation of equal treatment when we create an environment in which jobs are distributed equally. And taking probability in account, there is a good chance that when you make your workforce 50-50 male-female, that you also cover a good average of all the in-betweens. So, in conclusion, when you have a smartest idea for an opening of a video, try to keep it to an opening of the video and not half the video and confuse people about what you actually want to say. Point in case, my dictionary X-course. Number 2, when you talk about something really complex, like gender, sex and orientation, and you are aware that it is a really complex issue, try to make at least a little bit of research before making a fool out of yourself on camera. Number 3, what I wanted to say was, you have to acknowledge and appreciate the differences in all the humans. And while I ended up talking about only male and female and oversimplifying it, the statement itself is still accurate. Go for diversity, go for an equal treatment for everybody. I hope this kind of clears up a bit of the mess I created in my first video. If not, let me know in the comment section. This is ANY, opinion counts.